Recording in progress.
Are we ready, Anna?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll call the June solid waste meeting to order. Was the meeting properly announced?
Yes, it was.
Okay. Roll call, let the record show that Bruce Mons is not present, committee member. We have four. Need a motion to approve the agenda.
What was that?
Where do you, yeah. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Agenda is approved. Need a motion to approve the open session minutes from 5:09 and 5:12, and Bruce is here. And Gary to approve the minutes. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are approved. Public participation, we have a few people signed up to speak, and when we get to those areas. Financial report. Has everybody had a chance to look at financials? No.
Just to point out, the minutes were on your public participation list, so we've already reached that part in the agenda.
You want to talk about them? Okay.
My name is Katie Myrtle, and I live in the town of Houston, Grand Rapids address, and the minutes were for the open session. I understand that, but since that matters of significance took place that affected many residents in the county, that we discontinuing follow garbage, they weren't reflected in there, and it did not give equal opportunity to any of the residents to even come in and participate at that time. And they were put on the next one. So as you talk about it, the first one and then the last one's 5:12, and the one before that was before. We wouldn't get any notice to come in and make any kind of comments, discussion, participation, because they had reflected either of the minutes. I read both. I read it at the time. See if I need to do anything. I have no idea this was going on. So no one I know that I talked to knew about any of the things that were going to happen. We only received our letter Saturday. So I don't see how those minutes can be approved as something that's significant missing from them. They did it in closed session, but I don't know if it's proper to do it in closed session because we didn't know. And to make that kind of decision with no warning, if you were a public company, the fiduciary duty should be. So I look at this, that you're doing what you're doing with our livelihoods and falling, and this elderly people over Easton and not be able to do this. Everyone in Congress says they're going to bury it, burn it, do all kinds of things you can't do. So that's my participation.
Okay, thank you. Everybody had a chance to look at the financial report, are there any questions?
Yeah, I've got a. Oh, thanks. I questioned last month about the $621 per hour for shipping trash. Got anything more to tell me about that? Why can't we do that in house? Highway department has a shipper or loader. Or why can't we push the brush and pile and burn?
Make compost out of it. So
But do we get $14,000 worth of revenue back out of the compost?
I'd have to look back. Honestly, I just haven't gotten it. I can't. But yeah, it improves the not thing. And yes, burning. I mean, burning is a whole. Have to get burn. But taking and just let it naturally break down. That's it. But we charge for the brush coming in as well, so I have to look at that and see what we're charging and how much we're bringing. So charge you to bring the brush in, pay for the chip and mix, and then we sell it again as well. Back So I'll look, I can get the numbers, but yes, it just honestly had a chance to.
You guys can bring like a big pump grinder in?
Yeah.
With like Renaissance.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that highway has.
That's small too.
Yeah.
Big pump grinders, that's small, they go for $600-700 more.
Yeah.
Big V12 engine,
We had one of them company that did some up and down the road, a couple of years ago. Way faster than.
Yeah, they're only here for. 1 year for
Yeah.
half of it.
So there's a possibility with recharge and then sale, we might be close.
Yeah, and
There's a
I
possibility.
have to look into, I'll look into the last 12 months of kind of what we said brought in and see where that.
Probably won't come out even a lot closer. I was not aware of a charge with brush coming in. I thought that was pretty rough.
No, it's for both grass and for any yard waste, it's 40 and 45 dollars.
and probably a minimum. Right, minimum drop off too, so it's.
Yeah, I think the minimum is the same as our regular, it's 25. But it's $40, $45 respectively per month for grass and the brush, branches and stuff.
We have a budget? Financial.
Financial reports.
Next question.
Kyle, looking at the. Correct me if I'm reading too wrong. It looks like our total revenue is about 14% budget, 14%. That's correct. 40, which is what's easier.
Yeah, I looked at it this morning, so it says 20% right now, but that's because we had the. We had the $4 million budget, and then we did for proceeds that we're gonna have later on this year. We do not have any revenues reported into the bulk money that comes in. We would very much good. We need to record the revenues, so. Don't have that number yet for.
Would it be, and I'm just trying to, so would it be reasonable to say that this report would reflect Q1? Yeah, Q1, we should expect to say, we would expect to hit 25% of our revenue Q1.
Right.
That reasonable?
Yep.
And we're at 20.
Well, we're at 20, but we have $4 million. Percentage. It was close to 35. Not counting bond.
And wages are currently turning 38%.
The wages that will be. I'd have to run this up really for wages.
Is there anything that shows kind of this month, May, is a plan, are we on for it? Just curious, just trying to get us.
Not, I mean, not really drag it in that much detail. And it's hard to have these reports generated up to date on the minute for the committees, especially as June 6th.
Yeah, just even what's here. Trying to compare to where are we versus the budget to see how are we performing financially. Because looking at this, looks like well, there are income and we're well over wages. You know, obviously that's very concerning as we're looking at reducing services, the revenue as well. As part of that, so this period of the impact is going to be realistically real.
So quarterly, I do a report for the Admin and Finance Committee. And it's, yeah, there's a report I do for Admin and Finance every quarter, and there are a number of expenses that are not included for the new grant. So we have depreciation expenses that we report, but part of that, in order to fund our capital, we transfer over the cash value of the depreciation from the operating fund to the capital fund. So we have funding that for our capital. And there's also long-term care and closure costs that need to be reported. That's essentially a liability for the town. After we have to have some money set aside to be able to close it. And then we also have to maintain the landfill for 40 years. After. There is.
So those are negative.
Right? They are accounting adjustments, but we also have to have a cash available to fund this. Right now, at the end of 2022, we did not have the cash available to fund that. The stuff with our auditors, how we're going to. I got to talk to the DNR as well, because the DNR plays part of that. I think the other year ends. There's also insurance costs. So highway and solid waste, they have a lot of equipment, and what we do, we allocate the insurance costs out to solid waste. So solid waste pays the general fund cash for the cost of the insurance. That entry is not reported yet. I typically do that around mid-year. There's the $740,000 transfer to debt service to pay for South-5 and Mark. That entry is actually done already this year. But that one's more, that one, the cash side, the service cash.
Do you accrue these charges or you just do them on site?
We don't do monthly, it's just annual.
Site report.
All right, so in May, we collected 5,045. 5,000, about 5,000 tons of garbage were collected in May 3. That brings our year to date up to 18,000 tons, which is we're still trending under where we were at last year. 148 tons. We are trying to catch that. 148 tons less at the same time last year. For recycling, brought in 514 tons of recycling were collected in May of 2023. That brings our year to date total to 2,152, which is 566 tons more than the same time last year. And staff's been obviously incredibly busy since the announcement of the changes being made. They're doing an incredible job. They've been super helpful, kind of handling any questions and concerns that come up. Still waiting on our split body truck. Going on 8 months now. Something like that. Work started on the new cell. Kinsey Excavating obviously was awarded the bid. They started last week moving dirt, moving sand and stuff like that. So they've been out there every day and cleaning them. It's done. We did have a fire on the landfill last Thursday morning. I believe it was, I'm still waiting for the final reports, but the sheriff deputy saw the black smoke early in the morning and called it in. Local fire departments were called in with water tanker trucks. They worked with on-site personnel, both our shop manager and landfill manager. Were able to get here by shop manager pretty early, pretty quick. We were here like 5:30. got put out pretty easily between sand and dirt being smothered on it and the water that the fire departments had. It looked really bad, it ended up not being very bad, garbage when it starts on fire is just big black smoke. So it looked very bad when you pull it on the corner, I mean, the whole area was covered in smoke, but once we got it put out, it really wasn't that bad, it was maybe a 50 by 50, 100 by 50 area, just surface garbage. It really didn't get that deep. It was put out pretty easily. Kinsey was a huge help. They had a bunch of their large haul trucks on site already, so they actually hauled up loads of sand to smother it for us. We would have been at it for hours, had to shut down, it was just us doing one load at a time, but they volunteered to jump in and fire was basically put out, and we were reopened by 8 o'clock at that point. So we only had to actually shut down for about an hour as this was done. So the whole process with that then is we smother it with sand after it's doused with water. We let the sand basically sit on it for a couple hours to put it out. We re-dig it up, spread it out, wet it again, and then compact it back into the garbage. So after a couple hours that afternoon, we redug up the whole area, looking for any warm spots, anything like that. Doused it with water, and put it back in the case. So no structure was damaged, it was just in the garbage, no equipment, nothing, there was nothing even really in any immediate danger to get kind of damaged or anything, so. These things kind of happen on landfills, it's not a whole lot to prevent it. It's different things react with each other. Typically, actually, it starts during the day, because the biggest thing is lithium-ion batteries. You hit those, you can do that at your home, if you want a fun experiment, snap the lithium-ion battery with a hammer and it'll start sparking and doing that. So that happens in the landfill, we run over a lithium-ion battery, it sparks, starts up, everything around it. Happening overnight, no clue what it was. Really could have been a whole bunch of things, so. Could have been worse, ended up being actually very manageable. Again, the fire department was great, they're here incredibly quick. As well as the 2 managers that were on the site. Pretty sure, but
No, I just wanted to ask you how it started.
Oh. Any questions on that? So, yeah,
Sorry, couple questions. Interesting about the lithium ion. I was curious, kind of, you've seen a lot more landfill cutters. And I guess it makes sense with the increase.
lithium-ion batteries are a massive just issue with all of solid waste everywhere. I think actually just today, the EPA announced that they're gonna be classifying them as hazardous waste, so technically now we have to treat them as hazardous waste, a lot of that is to be on residents, not to throw them away.
Correct.
Bring them to our facility, which we do collect, we don't charge, we'll take them, we'll ship them. We actually already are set up and treat them as hazardous waste with proper containers, and everything like that. But now it's handed down from the EPA that they're hazardous waste.
Couple of questions on your side report. You said you're down in tonnage so far here today. Any idea what's driving the increase?
I mean, optimistically, our hope is that there's an increase in cycle, which we are seeing. But that's really the only thing that I can say. So not really, we're not losing any, we haven't been losing business.
We pay for the recycling, like, is there a offset?
So we sell it,
So we get an increase in tonnage, it's like a income.
so the recycling income is really hard, it's essentially a commodity. We don't really have a whole lot of control over how much we get paid for it. So like 2021 was like an all-time high for recycling commodities, so we were moving recycling out fast. Now we're trying to sit on it a little bit longer, kind of see if there's a sudden price spike in certain things, in plastics, cardboards. Then we'll sell it. how 2022 was, 2021 was so good, 2022 felt really bad, but it actually was probably closer to the norm of what things are. But we still end up hitting and going over our projected revenues for the first stuff. And so far, we're kind of in that same path, we're right around where we're projected.
Another last thing about is, you said you're still waiting on your new truck. And that's for garbage pickup service, right?
Yep.
So is there, just trying to understand, canceling garbage service, are.
This one's gonna be for the contract routes, anyway, because it's a sidearm collection truck.
What is that? bring?
We'll have 5.
For free.
Yes, this is a split body, so this one could potentially replace the cab as well. We're able to do both garbage and recycling.
And are we looking to get more contracts with towns?
Yes, that is kind of our goal. Again, it's gonna be at least to start, kind of how it fits into our new schedule. I mean, we can't stretch ourselves with everything. Obviously, we can't justify hiring a full-time person if we can't justify the work. So
Even though we canceled the garbage pickup service. If it's town came to us that we'd like to do a contract like the city of Adams did,
yes,
that's something that solve this.
yes. Yep, it's kind of be, and what I'm kind of, because I've had other townships ask about that. And it essentially is a case by case, if we can fit it into our schedule, and fit it into our equipment that we have, into the personnel that we have currently. And we can make the price work, then yes, but I do encourage other towns as well, we'll have much more better options, not better, you'll have other options to go to other haulers, because other haulers will be much more willing to do a contract than to go and pick up 3 houses on the far end of town, where they do the whole township. You're gonna get very competitive as well, to what we would be able to offer.
The current operations of the prices from the private.
For the individual subscription services, that's an expensive service because it's the travel time, which was the same situation we were in as well, is we're driving however far to pick up 10 houses, I got to the point. And that's what the other holiday. It's the individual subscription households, and where that necessarily isn't the case, if you get an entire township where you're providing service to the entire.
But the individual still have to sign up. For instance, if Preston adopted the subscription service, then everyone in the town of Preston is on their taxes, and I understand it's paid on their tax roll. So everyone in the town of Preston would have their garbage picked. So
But they wouldn't have to set up their own service, it would be the town would set it.
understand, so that you in a town that has a different.
No, east of the minute.
And it wouldn't be, the rate it wouldn't be what we were charging for a month rate. It would be significant. I don't know, I'm sure how people have some. Per household.
So. The towns have the statutory authority to be able to do a special assessment for garbage collection services. The county does not. So that's kind of where this whole thing is, we're charging a fee for the service, we should not be supported by council, because. Town of, let's see, someone in the town of Rome, for example. That has our subscription-based service, they're paying county taxes. And some of that taxes is going to the solid waste department. And then they're also paying for the subscription service as well. They're being charged twice, and then to add further to that, the transfer site is operated using this town levy. So they're paying for 3 cents. So that's one of the big issues, and like, for example, for me, Riley, $145 a week for garbage pickup service. And I talked to my clerk about it, and it fully funds the contract. So that's one of the bigger issues is that towns, they're the ones that have statutory authority to issue special assessments, do special assessments for garbage pickup services.
So the end game there is to get everybody.
Well, but then we're told you don't have, like, all of a sudden, if 5 towns signed up. If they voted, the township voted to do that, you couldn't serve. You don't have enough to serve.
5 would be something we would probably evaluate on adding staff.
Yeah, if it got to the point where we could add staff back, then absolutely would, if the price would justify that.
But on the same token, if you're a township, you're not gonna just reach out to here and get a quote, you wanna get a quote from 2 or 3 or 4 other places to see who's competitive and who's the best.
From other towns that have done it, our price is right around their other qualities.
One last question. You guys want.
Yeah.
Looking at changing that allows Atlas County garbage.
Not looking at it. Just like it out, we're looking at still having something, we're getting the same tonnage. What that looks like, we don't really know yet. We're going to the question, fees. Yes, I mean, we're not looking at. Yes.
Fair enough.
I told a little bit on the section.
Sorry.
Okay. We sent out 27 outbound modes of recycling were shipped out this last month. They're all listed there if you want. And then I'll have just same thing with our office staff. The hauling operations, very busy. The guys are doing incredible help with everything. We're 2 drivers down, and obviously managing summer vacations, hauling in and stuff like that. So they've been great. They've been doing really well. Guys are coming in early, staying late, just to make sure that right. That is all I have.
Okay, there's 2 people signed up to speak for agenda item 8. Anybody want to?
Nice.
He asked the question that I was doing.
Okay, this isn't going to be a question and answer section. If you want to speak, you can speak 3 minutes. It's fine. Next thing, update on future solid waste operations.
So it's just kind of, a lot of it's what I talked about, the touchdown kind of already. Did drop the number down of drivers that would be leading the department from 6 down to 5. Just didn't want to end up in the spot where we were going to stretch too thin. So it was 5, all 5 spots were volunteered to be taken. 2 drivers have already left the department to pursue other opportunities, something we laid out right away. We didn't want to stop anybody from having another job opportunity. So 2 already left. Letters to customers were sent on the 19th. And then we sent them again with Bill on the June 2nd. We're getting a lot of phone calls, obviously. Most people have been very responsive to just kind of our recommendations and kind of why we're doing this. And but overall, it hasn't been terrible response. People are frustrated, obviously, but like I mentioned earlier, the office staff have been doing an incredible job. So LRS and Harders are the 2 main ones for residential service. They've been RN, they've been really well, Harders especially, and often to work with. They are providing service to the entire northern part of Adams County, residential and commercial. They're out of the Fox Valley area as their headquarters, but they've just recently expanded in Wisconsin Rapids, and we're actually looking to kind of further expand their services, so.
Where do they?
So right now,
Coverage, if they're using the cranberry or are they using?
no, they're coming here, they will be, they're not gonna be starting anyone's service until July,
That's gonna add tonnage revenue.
will be the same. What do you mean?
Still coming here.
Well, I understand, but they have to pay a tonnage
Yes,
where.
our
if-
fees incorporated that hundred, our whole fee incorporated that hundred as well. We
Right,
didn't pay for it separately, it was incorporated into the fee. that-
so, but still,
But
I'm
yes.
telling you that the solid waste isn't gonna lose that tonnage
No.
revenue, which, I mean, at least that's good.
They're,
They gonna offer curbside.
Right.
They-
nope, they do curbside,
Yeah,
They
I
actually-
just got an email from them before I got here and said they'll pick up mine and gave me my prices that are even. Grab it.
Harder. ARTERS. So right now, they are dedicated to going down to, roughly the city limits, a little past the city limits, except they will go down into, they're in Quincy. And then really, they just said the more people that they get in other townships, the more kind of interest they can get, the higher probability that they can expand that way. But they just haven't made that commitment yet, but the entire northern half down to J. Maybe half. I can't remember.
Yeah, I'm gonna look up and they said they're gonna come to my place.
Yeah, they're doing all of Quincy. Quincy goes a little further.
Yeah.
south. They did say that.
I asked what it was, or you can see. Well, the rate is basically the same price as what the county was charging, except for that they're adding 6.55% fuel surcharge. The LRS is really, because the LRS numbers I got a quote from LRS, and LRS was using the same cans, using the cans that are left, was basically $30 a month, but they only pick up recycling once a month. When did you get that quote? 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Things have changed. I was able to talk, I was able to get dumpsters from LRS at commercial. And I had some questions about my bill, and I talked to them. And right on their message, their lead message says, if you're Adams County, email us.
So they're getting a lot of calls,
Yeah,
and I've been working with them or talking with them, and they are trying. They've been pleasant work. They're trying very hard to keep up with demand, expand their services, cover as many people as they can. They did say that there might be a little bit of a lapse, but they're trying really hard not to. But yeah, they did communicate to us. Email is their easiest, because their phones are tied up.
That's all I got a hold of them.
Phones are basically tied
Emailed
up.
me right back.
Yeah.
And they said that they would, and I questioned, only get recycling once a month, because I can get a second can, but then it's
Yeah.
$12 a month, I think, for the second recycling. So then it can go, your $40 or $41, same as Harvard's.
The guy I dealt with was actually out of Greenwood,
Say it
in
again.
Harvard's. The guys that I dealt with
Oh.
were actually out of Greenwood.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Danny? Danny?
No, I was all emailing, but I emailed them, and they were emailed it within a half an hour, any questions I had.
Yeah, they've been really good. Then we did work out agreements for commercial. Just to make the transition smooth as we can with both Harvard's and LRS that. They are gonna be buying some of the containers that are already act with those businesses. So we don't have to go collect them, they don't have to bring new ones, they're just gonna buy them straight from us, put them up the state around. And we're keeping track of that list. They are and we are prepared to make sure. everything lines up. And we're still gonna have plenty of businesses that we're gonna have. But that'll hopefully make it a little bit easier. So that's kind of all I have right now for kind of update.
Right.
Yeah,
On Congress, if I could just, I talked to them yesterday, I've talked to them 3 or 4 times, they're not planning on covering anywhere near the Chester, probably over 13, south of. It's not ever, it's further north of Everett and that, not kind of covering it, they're very nice about it, but it's the fourth time they've said it, they will give you a quote.
Oh.
So none of the businesses on the letter that came out, except for Pelletary, for rumors, they might cover it, but it says business only. I mean, I will be sending out any future notices to people, but no other option. In other words, none of the places you sent will service your 96-gallon or 95-gallon, residential pickups. It's a pretty big area. It's a lot of people.
I guess what do you mean notice?
Well, in other words, do you have any other service to suggest that they?
I mean, I'm always keeping my eye out and, talking with Harders to see if they're gonna, well, and I guess I didn't know LRS has said that. What they told me is that they're trying to cover all, they can't right now, but they're trying. They're trying to get more trucks up to their areas, they're trying to get more drivers. And Harders was just all of they can get phone calls, have enough people essentially interested from an area, then they'll expand into that area. But if there is other resources, then yeah, we'll keep adding them, we'll update them on socials, we'll update them on that letter as we get them in. Which is the first actual letter we sent out, we'll have the two, and since then we've added a couple options.
And I got the later letter, they did, but it said business only, so I know.
And that's just what-
Yeah.
For Pelletary specifically, that's just what they told me when I talked.
Okay,
So they might be looking, because they do residential. So
but they.
when I talked to them that first time, they told me, you can tell people just commercial for now, and we'll see how. So if they tell me that they're willing to do, then yeah, we'll update that as soon as we get.
Okay. Thank
I
you.
might. But that saves something because sales reps when Pelletary stopped.
Oh, okay,
And I had for
yeah,
and they're going to do, starting now, they're going to do the southern part of Adams County, up as far as Highway 20. No curbside pickup as of yet, but they are open. They do curbside pickup in the city. They have a contract with the state.
yeah, they're a pretty good company too, so I was hoping that they would kind of come further into Adams, they're a, not small, they're a big company, but they're a family owned company, they're good.
Did Pelletary say how much that Dell's contract is per residential?
Tax records probably has it.
I've got his card in my.
You said Dell's, didn't you? The hearing isn't so good over here.
Yes, the Dells.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Discuss on our kind of extending hours for solid waste department.
Hold on, Rocky, on 9. So we have an $80,000 next gen solid waste study. That was pretty much ignored. So when we're looking at updates on future solid waste operations, are we going back to that study to derive any guidance? Or anything to say, I mean, we basically ignored it, so what can our residents expect? I've been asked that a lot, we just spent $80,000 on something that we just threw out the window.
It's what you need, expect from one.
For operations, for future plans, how do we answer to our residents?
I mean, as far as what we've talked about, this decision, cut these services is. This is the solving decision. This is the, I guess, final. Major decision like this regarding our department. Because this should, Kyle is correct, get us into where we need to be. Within a year.
And was that the goal? Is that why we said, you know what, this $80,000, it says what, 5 or 6 years that we can turn the corner? We want it faster, so we don't care.
So what the $80,000 thing, I mean, it only covered out the 5 years, it didn't really take into account. Essentially, our biggest thing is every 3 to 4 years, it's another $3 to $4 million. To keep the landfill going, keep expanding the landfill. And even with their rate increases for the hauling, we never would have gotten. We never would have broken even because we would have hit that $3 million debt. Every, whatever timeline, 3, 5, 3, 4, 5 years. We never would have gotten there. It would have been taking 1 step forward and 2 steps back. The entire thing. And that study did show this was the area where our losses, like major losses, like that study did show. Yeah,
So this is, it showed, this is, what is this?
the hauling operation that we're cutting, sorry, the subscription-based services that we are cutting were our loss, like singular major losses, and it wasn't all that close. The landfill itself makes money, roll-off services, which we are keeping, does make money. They didn't really do the MRF because it's so commodity based, but looking at our own revenue numbers, like we are making money.
So for the towns that don't have garbage transfer site, they just have recyclables. Is this something that they could add down the road?
A transfer site, you're saying?
Right.
Yeah. So
And you're getting, dollar amounts cost for that, if they call in,
I guess sorry, I'm not.
you're charging a fee to come down and get the container, right?
Oh, yes, yeah.
Okay, so that's available to the towns.
If you want to reopen up your Easton, correct, sorry.
Easton, yeah.
And you guys used to have one, from what I
We
understand.
have an old town now,
Okay,
and we have a
So-
recycle area.
so if you would start a drop-off site like the other towns have. That is completely up to you. Even us hauling, you don't have to have us haul. I think some of the towns are sometimes confused about that. We have actually no control over the drop-off sites that towns have. All we do is haul the garbage for them. But like Rome decided not to have this. They went out and found their own haul for theirs. So that's an option for the towns to go out and find a hauler that maybe fits the price range that you want and that what works for you. And some of that's all gonna depend on, because we do it by pull and tonnage. So every time we drive down there, grab one of the containers, there's a fee associated with that, and then you get charged for the weight of that material as well.
Sure.
So a lot of it depends on how often you're open, how long you're open, what material you accept, whether you do big bulk items, whether you just do household bag waste. So those are all decisions that are purely up to the town on how many containers you just have sitting there. Those are decisions purely up to the township to decide what they want to do. And we'll haul whatever you tell us to. Or like I said, you go out for bid and find a hauler as well. So that part of it is, it's all on the township. You guys want to, we have no say whether you start a transfer site or not.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Discussing or act on extending hours for solid waste.
so with these changes, a lot of feedback we have received is longer accepting hours, longer open hours. So I do want to have our hours 6 to 4 instead of 7 to 3. So they get 10 hours that were open and would actually be ideally that the landfill itself. So right now, the landfill is at 2:30, is pretty early for the haulers and contractors and stuff. Now, especially opening us up to a bunch of different haulers, to give them more of an opportunity as well. That actual landfill will be open from 4. Along with our office and scale. Everybody would have, right now, we have 3 different times, which gets confusing. We have 2:30 for the landfill, we have 3 o'clock for the scale, and we have 3:30 for the office. This would be one time for all. It'd be open at 6, we close at 4.
Did we make that change or does that finance?
And then finance get involved with operation hours?
Not an operational, that's you control the policy and the operation.
Different money.
Well, we're still, because our hours are still gonna be the same. We're gonna go to 4 10-hour days for our. I don't have the exact details of it yet, but we are gonna do, 4 10-hour days for the workers, so the actual number of hours worked. is the same, so it shouldn't change, it won't change.
So it won't be open Friday.
It will, they're gonna be split into two, where essentially one group works Monday through Thursday, one group works Tuesday through Friday.
What about Saturday?
Saturday's gonna stay the same. The summers 8 to 4. If for whatever reason we get a whole bunch of feedback that we need more summer hours, we can look at that, maybe extending it one Saturday a month through the year, I don't know.
Have you tried to drop off trash on the side?
I mean, I've been here, I don't know, I haven't brought in trash.
It's not a very smooth operation.
It's busy on Saturdays, but it's always been busy on Saturdays.
It's really the only option the community has. Majority of people will.
I mean,
So
most
getting here
transit
by, getting here by 3:30, 4 o'clock, it's pretty hard to do. The Saturdays are back, and even when I was here last week and the week before. There's only like 6 cars up there, still took a half an hour to.
Yeah.
To get, or I could actually get rid of my car. So as this continues, right? And less people, or more people have fewer options.
Yeah.
And they're gonna start showing up on Saturdays. I think you guys need to have a plan for. How do we speed up that scale? If it's through technology or whatever, it takes time to roll on the scale, run inside, come back out, go get your stuff, come back, get on the scale, run back inside. Like there's time and all that, and everybody else is just waiting, like one person's gonna fit the scale.
And there is some technology that started to look into, but I agree. The process itself is just,
It's cumbersome, and it's slow.
the county as a whole is still a very cash heavy county, because there is like automated scale systems that you just pay with a credit card, never get out of your car. It's just all right there. But then you have to eliminate the cap part of it, otherwise you're still just backing up everything. So there are options that we can and probably should. I mean, I agree, we probably should look into.
Yeah, I mean, realize it's gonna get worse. Right? Hours and things like that, it's still going to get worse for only consumers. There'll be more and more people needing that service.
Yeah, and maybe, I mean, and if it does come to that, we are open to changing that. I would maybe expect, or at least wouldn't be surprised to see some of the transfer sites maybe get busy first, they might take the first. But when you do look at the actual breakdown of the county and like where the people are located that no longer have the service, there's not one township that has like this massive amount that you might see the increase at. The transfer sites or at the drop off sites, it's pretty spread out, so. I'm hoping, yeah, and we'll just see, we are open to it. Like we are aware that this might be something that has to be done, so this is just the first step, is to do the 6 to 4, give it an extra hour and a half, hour of bringing stuff at the end of the day and start of the day. And see how this goes, but yes, we are aware that doing Saturdays might have to be something.
Is there anything on road 7 to 5?
We haven't talked about it, but maybe that's something we need to look into. Just to see, yeah, I don't know, 6 to 4 is just kind of what we started it, and that's kind of what we looked at.
I'm just not sure who the 6 o'clock time here is.
We have people waiting every day, contractors. So I think it would benefit them, maybe not the individual residents, but the commercial haulers for sure, they would benefit. The contractors, especially in the summertime, they fill up their dump trailer or whatever, because Saturday at night, they want to empty it before they start the next day. So we do have people at the gate every single day.
I do have one, I know I didn't sign up to speak, but you're talking about transfer stations. I know in the town of Newchester. Town of Newchester has issued permits to everybody. And if you don't have a permit in your vehicle, you're getting turned away.
Okay.
Because it's just for the residents of Newchester, because that's what we're paying.
Right.
To make that clear.
Yeah, no, and
Yes.
I think that's ideally how the transfer sites are set up. some townships have been loose with that. And so they get themselves in trouble because then, yeah, you're ultimately paying for waste from other people outside of your. But yes, that is how they're set up to be, that you have to get a permit, it has to be in fire or. Sorry.
Okay, getting back to changing the hours. I entertain a motion to go with Charlie's hour change.
Could I ask about Saturday? Why wasn't
Fleshed out more, why are we doing the 4:10, but take away one of the weekdays and do a full Saturday?
Like.
Year round,
This time of the
year round.
No. Do that schedule, around what you're talking about, some employees work Wednesday through Saturday, some employees work Monday through Thursday, some employees work Tuesday through Friday. Leaving that Saturday in that rotation where the hours could be extended on Saturday.
Sorry, not.
so
So you,
Saturday is just the dump is open.
Yeah, the landfill itself
Right.
is not open, the drivers are there. To empty the containers. We have one driver, I think, right? It's there
Yeah,
typically, and then one scale clerk.
okay, so you've not looked into expanding those services to provide people who work Monday through Friday. And only have Saturdays available, let's talk about the winter time, because obviously there aren't hours. You have not looked at,
no, right now, we haven't, I don't want to. Have the workers work on Saturdays if I don't have to. So no, I have not looked at that. We're starting with just expanding our hours this way. I mean, Easton isn't a unique spot, you guys don't have a transfer site, but. Most everyone else does have a transfer site, and they're all open on Saturdays and Sundays. So I mean, there is other options, so we aren't the only option. And yes, I understand Easton does not, but most of the county does have a transfer site that is open Saturday afternoons and Sunday afternoons, year round.
Thank you.
Who needs the motion?
I made a motion.
Made motion, 40 seconded, change the solid waste open hours.
6 to 4 Monday through Friday, and then Saturday. same.
Yeah, Saturday, it'll be continuing with your Labor Day or May through.
Okay, thank you.
Further discussion on the hours. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? Okay, your hours are changing. Now. Equally assigned as the state.
You can.
Yeah, several people signed up to speak on various agenda items. Before we go into closed session, we'll give you that time to speak. It's not a question and answer period. You can just state your piece and we'll listen.
I already kind of spoke, I think we need to look into Saturday, what is it, Saturday hours, sorry. It's important.
Anybody else?
I think that expecting the elderly people in East and other towns, there are other towns, in fact, and we won't talk about East because that's where we're at. But I spoke to other people who weren't, and not had any idea of how to use social media to get any updates and giving. Maybe send them out 1 by mail, or 2, make sure that there's some other way they can find out. I don't know exactly how you would do it, but the social media is great, you're on it, but social media, unless you put it on your site, doesn't work either, and I didn't see it on your site. It showed up first on Todd Allen's Adams County, and then stopped taking it because that's not his focus with scan. So I think it's really important to get the information out. Everybody thought it was a joke when they read it.
Everything was on.
But we didn't know it because we didn't send out a notice to us. I mean, in other words, you have our emails or you have our, we didn't get a letter until June 2nd, 3rd. That might be on Saturday. That is today. So we didn't have notice unless you happen to be on Facebook, you happen to see it. So you can't really count on that when you're talking about affecting customers. I think giving 30 days notice, which is basically all it was, that you were discontinuing some of the people counted on for, I don't even know how long it's been more than 12 years we've been here, of picking up garbage without really any, I would say none of the companies that I called even considered picking up our garbage or anyone around us. I said, what about if I took it to a neighbor's? You know, so, in other words, you couldn't combine, can't go to the just have to have your own sticker, that kind of thing. This isn't need to every, Easton is not the only one without a transfer station. So in some respects, it's gonna affect more, but I think the fact that you send out commitments that we can pay, you know, I pay my year, I can get reimbursement straight, but you know, you allow us all, in the garden, we knew about this quite a ways before and didn't tell them. I think that's just a poor management. Aspect. I think there's people out there who need to know, and I'm one of them, and then a lot more, all of our neighbors are like, what do you mean? There are so many people who still don't know until they got the letter. And a couple of them said, oh, I didn't read that. I went, read it, it's important. So that's the thing, having something of this magnitude, affecting so many people. First of all, probably in terms of population, but all the visitors, you know what's gonna happen in Conneaut Beach, they're gonna shove it like they've been on the side. We pick up bags of garbage on our 50 acres, I can't tell you often, that's what it's up. Because people toss it out of the car, bags of garbage, because there's no place to put it, there's no transfer station. And that's now, I can't imagine that. We've also talked to people, they said, burn it, no, that's.
Anybody else? Yep.
Under COVID, garbage collection is an essential service. That brings the feds in. The feds ought to come in and take a look at this whole thing. And I think it was mismanaged for several years. And I appoint an auditor with this whole thing, an involuntary bankruptcy, appoint a trustee, special master, and an auditor. And go in here and clean this place from agency. If something is wrong. This is an essential service, and to drop this bomb on these people, I just got my notice on the 3rd, not even 30 days. And I think you guys are heading for a disaster worse than what you have now. And I happen to be an attorney, I happen to be an EPA lawyer, and I happen to work for the federal government. Now, I would suggest you guys clean up your act. Because the people in the town are not going to accept this. What the hell do we do with our garbage? You had 3 names on there, I heard on the first letter. They were called and told they weren't taking any new customers. I got my letter, which had 2 additions. GFL and one other coverage. Right. I haven't talked to them, wanted to wait and see what was going to come of this meeting to see whether or not you guys got your act together and got some people that would pick up our garbage. But to drop this bomb 21, 22 days before you're gonna stop picking it up, just doesn't fly. I'm sorry, that's inadequate notice. And you may be in trouble right there.
Okay, sir, can we get your name, address?
Jim Gately, 2801 County Road B. I think you ought to take a good look at what you're doing.
Nobody else? Then the committee will convene in closed session for Wisconsin Stat Section 19.5(1)(e), deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session. In this case, to discuss the contract with Monterey. I need a motion to go into closed session. Yeah. And Gordy second. Need a roll call vote.
Miller, Ford,
Yeah.
Carlson,
Yeah.
Holmes, Milner,
Yes. Okay, I'd ask everybody who's out on the committee or management to leave, and I'm not asking you supervisor for you.
Yeah.
I don't want to miss anything.
Miss that around your view, so.
You're allowed, okay.
Yes, yes.
couldn't very.
You couldn't miss that.
Kyle, where is the,
That's right.
where is the,
I need to pull people out of the way.
article?
I don't know. Participants, waiting room, admin. There you go. Huh? Yeah.
Okay,
Somebody
project
put that in
status.
the agenda, yeah, the whole page, those the- something in the agenda, yeah, it doesn't have to be there. This is what I was saying. Yeah.
Is that you or is that Kyle?
Because that's what Charlie puts.
Project status.
It's usually Kyle. Kyle for other. Kyle. You go ahead.
Project status report.
We grind, so the concrete pile will be round up, $30,000 budget, came in at 26,000 total. Top heaters are all in. Those were completed this spring, or end of the winter. So we got an oil burner and a propane burner. Updates for the solid waste related ordinances, I haven't really looked at them, it's just my goal this year, and then we're still waiting. That's it.
Cameras all in? They're
Yeah,
all
that
done?
was last year.
Well, it wasn't finished with, it wasn't. Thing.
That's it.
Okay, identify possible upcoming agenda items. Signed contract.
Rates. Early rates, yes, transfer site, drop off site. rates.
Oh, and the tonnage rates, we're just gonna do all.
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
What is our next meeting gonna be,
Oh, wait, Mr. Chair, sorry,
what?
agenda, agenda item. Hey, Charlie, do you want to share? I don't know how much you want to share, but maybe just get it on the agenda about the ordinance of in-county garbage versus, and working with some vendors. I don't know how you can,
Yeah, we're looking at just, adjusting it, still making it beneficial to the county. Maybe adjusting the wording and the agreements that we might have with installers. Just basically that has been some hold up as well, that some of these installers don't want to bring everything that they collect here, if they're collecting one or two stops all the way on the southern end. So we're working out things to make it beneficial for them to still bring it to us, and it's not gonna be great. That's how we're looking at it. I'll have something more kind of present.
so we're looking for something that's mutually beneficial to the county and also the haulers. And in return, benefit to the community.
Okay, next meeting, July 11th. 5 p.m. out here. Okay. Meeting adjourned.
Huh?
Order, isn't it?
Next one, let's see.